My name is Sarah Bell, and at 23 years old, I've held plenty of titles. Zookeeper, animal trainer, conservationist, primatologist, anthropologist, journalist, blogger, explorer, adventurer, field researcher, educator. But what all of that really boils down to is that I am passionate about wildlife, conservation, and basically anything to do with our fantastic planet.
So I was born and raised in southern Florida, and I grew up around animals. I grew up on a farm, I grew up running and playing through these woods, and I was always getting my hands on things. I would constantly bring home snakes and turtles, and finally that love of wildlife just kind of transformed into how can I protect this wildlife? As I got older, I realized that there were animals I used to see constantly that I don't get to see anymore. And then through my travels, I realized that there are certain places in the world that really do have a crisis with how their wildlife is being managed and how people view their wildlife especially. I think one of the most important things in conservation is getting people involved, the people who live and work in those ecosystems where those animals are at. So, for instance, in Sierra Leone, there is a big problem with the chimpanzees, how they no longer have any forest left because people have been cutting down the forest to feed their families and grow food. And the chimpanzees, where their forest used to be, now there's plantations. So the chimpanzees will come into the plantations to find food, to feed themselves. And now they're seen as like pests, the way that we here in America might spray for insects. The people in Sierra Leone will hire hunters to come and take care of their chimpanzee problem. So when you go to these countries and you get to work with these people, you get to kind of show them that maybe there's a little bit more to these animals than just the pests that take some of their food. You get to talk to them and create a conversation about what's interesting about these chimpanzees, what's fascinating about them. Maybe the people in one village thought that they were kind of like little kids because if you threw a stick at a chimpanzee, it would catch it and throw it right back at you. And, well, we don't always condone throwing sticks at chimpanzees. It does kind of show that they are starting to realize that there's a little bit more going on there than, say, with a duiker or a small forest antelope.
We're at a time in our world where we as humans get to decide where our conservation efforts go, and those can make or break a species. Every animal, big and small, has an important role in our ecosystem.
So sloths are really well adapted for hanging out in trees because their organs are actually flipped so that they can stay upside down.
I'm passionate about conservation education and science education because I think that while science can be great for exploring new topics, I think that the way to reach out to people is through education, because when you write a scientific article, that tends to be written for a scientist and not really for the layperson or the people who can have the impact that can really make a difference in conservation. So when you do scientific papers, it's kind of like preaching to the choir.
From chimpanzees in West Africa to big cats in our own backyard, my experiences have taught me so much, and that we have so much left to learn about our wild species and wild spaces.
Well, this is pretty cool. Let's see what else we can find.